Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. It is Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday, new comic book day. I have not been to the comic shop in like 2 weeks. And I am very hopeful that I will be able to make it that way this weekend because I have lots of books that I need to pick up, lots of books that I need to read and catch up on. But because I have not been on a live stream in a couple of days, I wanted to come on here this evening to spend a little bit of time with you guys, to hang out just a little bit. Hopefully everyone is able to see me clearly. I have a video that I am uploading in the background. It was an ill-timed upload, and so I didn't want to stop the upload, but I had to go live, and so I'm like trying to figure out whether I can actually go live at the same time as I am uploading. I've never tried that before, so fingers crossed that you guys can actually see me. And if you can see me and I'm clear, give me a thumbs up. Give me something. Let me know if I need to shut this thing down in the background. But it is definitely good to see you all. And it is Wednesday, and we are going to say hello to some comic book soldiers before we jump into this thing. I have a couple of boxes over here that I'm going to open up. One of which I know contains a comic. I'm not quite sure what's in the others, but we are going to open them up and see what's up. So let me say hello to some people first. Jeff is in here. So being the first one, is it cool to ask your favorite piece in your collection is? So this is actually the first time I think I've seen Jeff's name here. So welcome, Jeff, to the live stream. Glitter and Duct Tape, Tina, how you doing? It is always good to see you. Scrolling down through a couple of names here that are in the live stream. Jeremy is here. Bearded Comic Collector is also here. Christopher is here. Joseph is here. Venomized is in the house. Jack is here. Old School Comics is here. Steven is in the house. Kyler. It's good to see all of you guys. So because Jeff asked this question, let's go ahead and start with this because I have a couple of things I'm going to unbox, but by and large, we are just going to freestyle this chat, just have a little bit of fun. I have really no agenda for this thing, to be honest with you. So he's asking, what's the favorite piece in my collection? I'm guessing he means favorite comic. I'm guessing that that's what that means because a piece could mean statues and that kind of stuff. And I only have one, so that would be my favorite statue. But as far as my favorite comic, I don't know if I have a favorite comic. I think that there are many comics in my collection that are meaningful to me. And not just based upon value, but for sentimental purposes. There's several that are meaningful. And I would say maybe Amazing Spider-Man 50 probably jumps out in my mind because it was the book that was actually signed by Stan Lee right in front of me right before his passing. And earlier today, I was actually watching some videos on YouTube about Adam Bashir, the Blue Marvel. And I was reminded of the impact of that series. And if you guys haven't read that, I would definitely encourage you to check out the Blue Marvel. It's a fantastic series. And I have 2 copies of the #1. And I would say that that's another personal favorite of mine, both the comic and also the 4-part story arc is really fantastic. But the long and short of it is that I don't have a single book that is like my most treasured prized possession. I have many books. I have books that are raw books that are unsigned from my childhood, like Incredible Hulk 377, signed by Dale Keown, a personal favorite comic that it literally is one of those books that I can close my eyes and I can still picture this book. You know what I'm saying? Daredevil #7. It is a prized possession because it is a book from my childhood. And so, again, there's many books. There is, in my mind, no single book that is my most prized possession. So hopefully that answers the question as best I can. So scrolling down through some of the comments here. Steven, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Quest is saying, Gibbon gang, how you doing? I think I said hello to everybody. Aaron Finkelstein, how you doing, brother? It's definitely good to see you. So let's go ahead and open up a couple of boxes. And again, we're going to freestyle this thing. We're going to have a little bit of fun. So there's 2 boxes that arrived here from the folks over at Go Collect. And I kind of sort of have a feeling for what's in these books, but I don't definitively know. But as everyone knows, I was able to extend my agreement with Go Collect recently into the new year. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity to continue working with these guys. So it appears that what they have sent to, oh, that's different. Okay, something new. All right, did not expect that. So part of what they are sending over to me are more t-shirts. So these are more of the distressed Go Collect t-shirts that I give away every single week here on the channel. There appears to be some larges, which is really good. We'll stick those down in the box. If you guys have watched my recent video, you know what's in that box right there. And then they've also sent over, this is new. This is new right here. This is a gray version. This is a gray version of the same t-shirt, the same distressed t-shirt. So we now have some options for folks. If folks win, I guess we'll have the ability to pick between, of course, the sizes and maybe also colors as well. So those black shirts that I pulled out appear to be all larges. These gray shirts appear to be all larges. And so as I go through them over the next couple of days, I'll be able to sort out what the options might be for people if there are indeed options. So this is the second box. They actually sent a second box over. So we're going to crack this thing open and see what's inside of this one. And it may just be extra large. These just may be, and they are the extra larges. All right. So they sent over basically some larges and some extra larges. So we now have some optionality when you win the weekly Go Collect giveaway. We'll toss those down there. And then in the very bottom of the box here, in the very bottom of the box, we'll pull one out. It is some copies of the exclusive Go Collect variant. This is the all new Soulfire exclusive #1. This is the Go Collect giveaway. So if you happen to win the giveaway, one of the books that you would actually get from me is this one right here. So definitely a cool book right here, Soulfire #1. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the inside. That's the inside. And then that's the cover on front. So I'll have to bag and board all of these things, but that's essentially what's in those two boxes. And then I have one last box that we'll unbox in just a couple of moments. And this is actually a pretty cool book. So we're going to unbox that. But before I get back to the chat and open it up for you guys with whatever questions you have, just as a reminder, this is the book that we're giving away this week. This is the Go Collect giveaway. This is Swamp Thing. Well, technically Saga of the Swamp Thing, number 37, the first appearance of Constantine, John Constantine, 9.4 white pages. This is the book that is being given away this week. So if you have any interest in actually picking this book up, all you have to do is to watch the videos that are released from the channel Monday through Friday. And in one of those videos, I will give you a phrase, and you need that phrase before you head over to the community tab. You find the post in which I'm talking about that book. You click on the link in that post. You plug in 3 pieces of information, one of which is a phrase that would have been given to you in one of the videos that comes out over the course of the week. So Tina's like, I love that book. Steven is like, mine. JT, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Hawaiian punch in your face. It's good to see you, bro. So again, if you guys are interested in picking up this book, this awesome, brightly colored book between the neon green and the yellow, all you have to do is to watch the videos that have come out this week or that are coming out this week. Find the book or the video that has the phrase, and you are off to the races. But that is the Go Collect giveaway. And then if you tune into the Ready, Set, Go preview show on this coming Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, you could potentially be the winner. And then you will have the option of either a gray shirt, black shirt in large, or extra large. So shout out to the folks over at Go Collect for hooking me up and sending me over some awesome stuff. So there you go. So let's get back to the chat and see what you guys are talking about. Regie was like, that's my book. So here's the thing. Nobody else. Don't worry about it. It is already in the bag. It is Richard's book. Oh man, you guys is that the Alan Moore Swamp Thing run is the question. Kyler, I don't know. So I have to go read it. Yes, it is the Alan Moore story, 9.4 white pages. There you go. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me see if we can Oh, there we go. Look at that camera right there. Oh, we have the wrong. I just realized we have the wrong banner up here. This thing says the Ready, Set, Go. That's on Sunday. That's not today. Today is just Regie Collects. So went ahead and swapped that. But yeah, Kyler. So yeah, that is the Alan Moore book. And again, you guys can win this book. All you have to do is to tune in, and maybe you'll make some magic. So scrolling down, there should be a Regie Collect cartoon. Oh man, that is funny. Let me see. What does it say? Not comic related, but what brand of fitness gear do you wear? Bro, I'm telling you. So I'm gonna be honest with you, Brandon. Bro, my heart sank the other day. Okay. My heart honestly sank the other day because I actually had once upon a time when I was truly into fitness, I had a deal with an apparel company. And they had some nice apparel, right? I mean, I rock the joggers and the hoodies and the tank tops and stuff like that. And I've tried lots and lots of different brands. And I actually came across a brand called Built. And these guys are in California. They had a lot of men's physique guys that were on their roster. And I love their apparel. And so when you see me wearing fitness apparel and it has that B on there, so the hoodies, I have the joggers. I have a lot of the tank tops that you see me wear are all Built. All of them are all Built because when I find something that I like, I do it. So I said to my wife the other day, babe, I think I need a couple of new workout shirts and stuff like that. I don't work out still, but I still dress like I work out. So she, unbeknownst to me, she went out and she started trying to get me some Built apparel. And come to find out, they've gone out of business. They have gone out of business. Built apparel is no more. And so she actually was able to find somewhere online that gray hoodie that you saw me in recently, and maybe that you've seen me in recently. And that is potentially the last Built piece of apparel that I will be able to find. And so I had it in black. Somehow the black hoodie has been misplaced. I had it in white, and the white has somehow been misplaced. So I had the burgundy. So I still wear the burgundy. And now she was able to find for me a gray hoodie. And it's an oversized hoodie. It's a really, really cool, comfortable hoodie, soft material, blah, blah, blah. But Built apparel is no more. And that is the brand that I've been wearing for the last several years. So there you go. Brandon, doesn't help you at all, bro. So I like Built. And there's another one. Live Fit apparel. Randall Pitch is the CEO. His stuff is cool. It's not as durable, in my opinion, as what Built was. And his stuff is expensive. Like, I think it's a little overpriced, but yeah, those are two brands that I definitely dig, more so Built than anything else. Hawaiian Punch in your face is like, I need a Swole size. Brother, there's no Swole size. There's an extra large. Scrolling down. So JT, I don't know about a Regie Collects cartoon, man. I mean, hey, if I can get on board with just about anything, right? Scrolling down, someone was asking what my thoughts were on something. The chat goes really fast. Zokal, what are my thoughts on Silver Age Spider-Man? That is, there's not enough detail there for me, bro, for me to be able to answer that. But I am a huge Spider-Man fan, especially Amazing Spider-Man. And so I am really close to actually completing a full run of Volume 1 of Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 441. So yeah, I love Silver Age Spider-Man. If there's more to the question, type it back in, type it in caps, and hopefully I'll be able to see it as I scroll through. So Zokal's asking a question around what kind of tape. There's a video on the channel. If you search for it, I use blue painter's tape. And if you watch that video on the channel, it actually goes into detail as to why I use blue painter's tape. The long and short of it is, honestly, it's personal preference, but there is a little bit more to it, but it really comes down to personal preference. So Tina's on it. Tina's like 3M blue painter's tape. It is everywhere in my house. I use this stuff as band-aids for my children. Why? Because it is cheap compared to actual band-aids for children, and it actually stays on, unlike band-aids for children. Scrolling to everybody's like, blue painter's tape. Spear, how you doing? Spears, H. Spears, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Everybody knows this answer. Man, it'd be dope to have some Reggie gear. We have a couple of Reggie t-shirts, right? That's about it. But true Reggie gear, man, no, we don't have any of that kind of stuff. So scrolling down through the comments here, Bearder Comic Collector says, I picked up Swamp Thing 37 a while back, but I need one for his son who collects everything John Constantine. Well, here's your chance, bro. If you guys tune into the various videos that are coming out from the channel over the course of this week, you could have a chance to pick one of those up. So scrolling down through the comments here, seeing what else is going on. Scrolling. No, it is not that built. Not that built. It is B-U-I-L-T. Built, B-I-U-L-T, sorry, built as in build with a T, built, apparel. So not that same company. So scrolling down through the comments here, scrolling. Sorry, I'm scrolling through the what's my top 3 Bronze Age comics? Yeah, so you guys gotta, I mean, off the top of my head, I can't remember what's Bronze Age and what's Silver Age, to be honest with you. But there are lots of videos on the channel that actually provide a lot of this content right around some of my favorites and stuff like that. So you may want to just, if you search for Reggie Collects and then search like top comics or something like that, you'll find a lot of those answers. So do I like the 70 Star Wars comics? So, someone actually gifted me some really awesome Star Wars comics just the other day, and I have not yet had a chance to read them, specifically the first appearance of Boba Fett and the origin of Boba Fett. I think it was Star Wars number 42 and 68, 2 really awesome books that I'm actually looking forward to reading, but haven't yet had a chance to read just because I have so much other stuff to do. I'm not a Star Wars fan, to be honest with you. I am a Star Trek fan, but the Star Wars books are really cool to me because I've been watching the Mandalorian TV show on Disney Plus. And so, generally speaking, I don't know much about Star Wars, just straight generally speaking, but the Mandalorian is dope. And I'm looking forward to reading these 2 Star Wars books that have been sent over to me as an AOK. So definitely looking forward to that. So let me scroll back up because I am way behind on comments, but I want to try to address comments. So again, if you guys throw stuff up in caps, it definitely helps me to be able to see what's up as I scroll through. I am Jay. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the live stream, my fan. Oh, you guys are hilarious. Scrolling through. JT is like, give me a bowl of cereal with some cold milk and I will sit and watch a Reggie Collects TV cartoon on TV. Man, I don't even think, real cartoons come out on Saturday mornings anymore like they used to do back in the day, right? Because that was my thing, man. A cool bowl of Fruit Loops, some ice cold milk, big spoon, and cartoons, man. I don't think they do Saturday morning cartoons anymore. I think cartoons with like the streaming services and all that stuff and cable, I think they're always on at this point. But yeah, scrolling through the comments here. Hold on a sec. IMJ Reggie has mega money on that. Do I? It's a couple of bucks back there. What's crazy, I'm gonna be honest with you. What's crazy is that a lot of those books are books that I actually picked up shortly after I came back in the comics, right? So I made this comment to somebody recently. A comic collection agency kind of made a comment on this on a recent video. But when I came back in the comics at the end of 2017 into the beginning of 2018, I felt like I was playing catch up because I'd been out of the hobby for so long. I felt like I was playing catch up, and so I spent a lot of time going out, finding all these really cool books, these books that I wanted as a kid that I used to see in Wizard Magazine, I used to see on walls in local comic shops, and I could never get them as a kid. But now as an adult with a job, I was like, man, I can actually afford this stuff. And, I spent a lot of time finding really, really cool books. And I've been very fortunate over the years to find some really, really cool books that have given me the feeling that I'm no longer playing catch up. Right. And that's not to say that I have every book that I want, because there's so many more books that you want as a collector. But I feel, and I was talking to somebody about this earlier today on Instagram. And let me see if I can figure out who that was that I was talking with. I talk to a lot of people over the course of the day, and I sometimes lose track of folks. But I was having a conversation. I can't remember who it was. I was having a conversation with someone about the respectable nature of one's collection, right? There were certain books that you really want. And I think it might have been Bob the 311th. Bob the 311th. I think that's how you say it. But there are certain books that you as a collector want in your collection. When you get these books, or when you're looking at these books, for you as a collector, they are the books that, if you are able to obtain them, makes your collection like official. You know what I'm saying? And for some people, it's like, Incredible Hulk 181, right? For some people, it's Spider-Man #1. For some people, it's, Amazing Spider-Man 300 or something like that. It doesn't have to be a crazy expensive book, but when you get that book, then that book means that your collection is official. And so I felt like, certainly in 2019, that I definitely achieved that level where I could look at my collection and feel comfortable with it. Like I can be proud of this, And so when I look at that wall behind me, when I look at many of the walls behind me, I get that feeling of, I feel like my collection is in a very respectable place, And it's not about the dollar amount. It's about, these are the books that I've always wanted, and to actually have them. Like I'm looking right now at Fantastic Four 67, right? I'm looking at Eternals #1, Eternals #2, Man Machine, right? I'm looking at not crazy expensive books, but books that are like, these are really good books that are important books to the hobby. And it's just peace of mind. So JT is asking about the Watchmen show. So I don't have HBO. I have like every streaming service known to man, but I do not have HBO. But I was recently traveling. I was in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and I was able to catch the second to last episode of The Watchmen with Regina King, and it was fantastic. It took me about a good 10 minutes before I was able to really figure out like what was happening, because they would tell the story kind of sort of in reverse and forwards at the same time. So it took me a moment to kind of orient myself to how the story was being told. Fantastic. Regina King is a fantastic, I think she was in Southland. Fantastic actor. And I thoroughly enjoyed her. I thoroughly enjoy Watchmen, and I'm kicking myself because I haven't seen it from the beginning. But that was one I definitely enjoyed. So scrolling down through some of the comments here. Old school is like, blue painters tape will change your life. It is good. I mean, if you guys haven't watched the video that I did on the blue painters tape, I definitely want to encourage you to check it out. So it's definitely it's definitely a cool way to seal one's comics. It's a little different, it's a little quirky, but it works, right? And if you prefer some other type of tape, man, it's all personal preference. There is no wrong way. If the flap of your comic closes and stays closed, there is no wrong tape. You know what I'm saying? But I have some preferences, and I think preferences are okay. I do not impose my preferences on other people. I classify my preferences as such, so as to not infer that they are the rule and that there is only one way to do it. So if you dig blue painters tape, go for it, man. There are some versions of blue painters tape that I don't like. There are some shades of blue that do not appeal to me. So I specifically like 3M blue painters tape, because this color blue pleases me. And there's people that like frog tape and all that kind of stuff, but whatever. There is a video on how I store my comics as well. It came out maybe a week and a half ago. So again, if you watch the videos, if you watch the channel, a lot of these questions are answered there, and you are going to be able to get a much more robust and thorough response by watching the videos than what I'm able to provide here. But I would definitely encourage you to go back and watch the recent videos in which I show you all around my comic book room, and specifically how I store my comics in great detail. So I definitely want to encourage that. So scrolling down through the comments here, glitter and duct tape. This is a really important part right here. Do not forget to hit the like button. Just go ahead and smash it. You guys are on it, man. You guys are on the top of it. And so there is a reason why I record certain videos. And I record certain videos because I get certain questions over and over and over again. And I don't want to shortchange someone when they ask a question by giving them an abbreviated or truncated response. And so I record the video because I know that people have the question, and then I refer people to the video so that they can get a thorough response to that question. Because if I were to answer it here, there are going to be points and tidbits and nuggets that I'm going to forget. And so it is not my attempt to be rude. It's my attempt to ensure that your question is appropriately answered. And if you watch the video and you have questions after that, you can always reach out to me at that right there, regiecollects@gmail.com, or preferably Regie Collects on Instagram. That way I can actually respond to you and provide you with additional insight. So scrolling down through some of the comments here. Lee Wood says, finally caught a live stream. Lee Wood, welcome to the Regie Collects live stream. It is my pleasure to hopefully entertain you tonight, and I'm glad you were able to catch one of the live streams. We tend to, as you know, have a lot of fun on these live streams, so I definitely appreciate you making yourself available to hang out with us just a little bit. What comics am I liking right now? So I tell you, I actually read Niobe #1, and I did not enjoy it. I'm gonna be honest with you. That is not what you asked me, but I think it's important to illustrate, that there are books that I read that I honestly don't like. I did not care for that book. Maybe it's a book that actually gets better. I don't know. I also read Excellence #1, and I did not enjoy that either. And I did not enjoy Excellence #1 because of some of the language that they chose to read in there. I also felt that the story was just a little bit convoluted for me. But I powered through and I persevered. I read issue #2 and I read issue #3, and it's growing on me. It is not like Niobe. And so I read a couple of issues of Excellence, and I'm starting to kind of get into that a little bit. I've been reading 90s X-Men all over again. So, and actually I'll talk about that in just a moment, but I've been reading some of the 90s X-Men again. I've been enjoying that. I've been reading some X-Men from the 90s. I've been enjoying that. I started reading something a couple of days ago. It was a Silver Age book, and I cannot remember. I was reading it digitally, and unfortunately my Marvel Unlimited has blocked me out, so I'm not able to actually log in, which is not a cool thing. So actually we'll see. Nope. It is not letting me in. So I'll have to get back to you on that. But I'm reading a lot of things, mostly digitally, because it's just an easier way for me to be able to read things at night. And I'm definitely enjoying, that ability to read things digitally, because I'm able to consume a lot more information and a lot more issues than I'm able to do if I'm reading hard copies of things. So I'm trying to think. I'm reading, of course, all of the new X-Men stuff right now. So your X-Force, your Excalibur, your Marauders, and by and large, I'm enjoying all of that. The new X-Men stuff, by and large, I'm enjoying all of that new stuff that I'm reading. So hopefully that kind of answers the question. So scrolling down through some of the comments here. What do you think about spec books? Again, I need a little bit more context around the question because I don't really know where to go with that one. I would say that I don't spec a lot because unless you're kind of like ahead of the curve, it's very easy to lose a lot of money trying to speculate on comics. There are books that I will pick up because I think that those books are a good read, especially if they're inexpensive books and maybe there's some speculation associated with that. But as far as like a key collector alert that comes out and then I go buy that book, I don't do that. As far as watching other YouTubers that are talking about speculation, then I go out and buy those books, I don't do that. As far as, doing Patreon subscriptions in order to get access to hot lists that are coming out, I don't do that. I try to focus on, on different kinds of things. And none of this is to say that speculation is wrong. It's not the game that I want to play when it comes to comics. That's not my thing. So, scrolling down through some of the comments here, I lost a lot. Let me scroll up. Hold on. And again, if you guys throw these things up in caps, it will definitely help me to be able to see the comments here. So let me see. Brandon, Man, you better believe I already sent 3M a message. I sent 3M a message several months ago trying to get a little bit of sponsorship money from them. They had no appetite for that. But the thing is I do the things that I do because I really enjoy them by and large. Like the products that I use them because I enjoy them. And then if I can work a deal with that particular company, that particular manufacturer, then it's a win-win, right? Because I don't have to pretend like I like something. I just have to work with the company's product that I already enjoy. And that makes it really, really easy. When people ask me, hey, what bags and boards do you use? I have no problem saying BCW. No problem. Why? Because I've been using BCW books since I was 16. I don't even have a deal with BCW right now, and I still endorse BCW books, bags and boards, because I think that they are solid products. You know what I'm saying? I like the things that I like because they work for me. And like I said, if I can work a deal with somebody, cool. If not, I'm still going to use those products. So scrolling, Shad is saying, are there any books that I want for Christmas? Well, the question that I have for you, Shad, the question that I have for you is, are you going to send me the book? Because if you send me the book, I will rattle off my list right now, starting with AF-15. Shad, if you send me AF-15 for Christmas, you will be my hero. No, there's a lot of books that I want, right? I want to be able to finish my run, volume 1 of Amazing Spider-Man, right? So Amazing Spider-Man #3 is still on the list, and I would love to get that book. And there's reasons why I haven't picked it up. There's a couple of things that I have my eye on. It's a couple of things that I want to try to do. I have an interest in picking up a collection of comics, and so I'm trying to kind of figure out what I might be able to do to make that magic happen, The wife and I also went on a tour of a preschool, or not a preschool, a kindergarten for my son that he is going to go to. And yeah, it's not cheap. So we also went Christmas shopping the other day for the kids, and also birthday shopping because my boy's birthday is on the 22nd. Shout out to you, Carter. And then Christmas on the 25th, and my daughter's birthday is on in February. So, you have to manage things. So Christmas may not come for dad. But that it'll be a Merry Christmas because my kids will get a lot of really awesome stuff. So shout out to them. Shout out to my wife for making me go Christmas shopping when I didn't want to. Scrolling down through some of the comments here. Here for Old School Comics says, first time you get blue painter's tape stuck on a comic and pull it off and the cover is damage free, you will believe in the right way. Here's the thing, bro. You cannot lead a horse to water. You can simply point to the water. Because the thing is yeah, I mean, blue painter's tape has some advantages, but I don't want people to feel like that is the only way for them to do things. You know what I'm saying? But you better believe the first time that you pull a piece of blue painter's tape off of a cover that you've accidentally stuck it to and you were able to do it without damaging that comic, that is the truth. Scrolling down through, Joe, how you doing, bro? It is good to see you, my man. Scrolling down through the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. I'm gonna get ready to open up this box here in a second. Crazy Ivan, it is good to see you, brother. Get some rest. Scrolling down through the comments here, trying to get to the bottom, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pop open this box of comics over here. Joey, how you doing, brother? He says, doing better, chatting with you and watching a live show. It is good to see you, my friend. Hope all is well with you, my good friend. So scrolling down through the comments here, scrolling to get to the bottom. We just might make it to the bottom. What is this? Check out Hot Flips for bags and boards, better and cheaper than BCWs in his opinion. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I don't go for cheap, right? I don't necessarily go for cheap. I go for quality. And I don't even, it's hard to compare one bag to another, right? Like, how do you compare one poly bag to another, right? Do you look at the defect rate of the various bags and boards that you actually pull out? Is that how you judge? Like, how do you judge a bag and board? You know what I'm saying? So I struggle with that. for me, if I'm going to spend, a bunch of money on comics, I don't know if I want to be cheap with the bag and the board. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that the bicarbonate is actually on the backing board to neutralize the acids that are contained in the comic. And I want the bag to be defective free, right? I don't want to have a bunch of bags that end up splitting and tearing and all that other stuff. So I'm not really about cheap per se. You know what I'm saying? But what I will say is that if you have found a bag and board, a supplier that you like working with, then that supplier is right for you. I've literally been using BCW bags since I was 16 years of age. Literally been using them since I was 16. I honestly did not even know another company existed, right? All of my bags and boards and my bins all came from BCW and I was good. And so I am definitely one of those people that is loyal to a brand. If it works, it works. And so I continue to buy it. I continue to support it, So what is this? Talking about sponsors, I've been where Marvel is sending issues to some YouTubers before Wednesday comic book day for them to review. Yeah, so that's not really a sponsorship per se, right? So I get advance notice from Valiant. I signed up for their program, so they actually gave me advance notice before books actually drop. There's one other publisher that I can't recall that actually gives me previews and stuff like that. And I'm not surprised that Marvel does it. DC probably does it as well. I think Image recently had the thing where they were actually looking for social media influencers and things like that. And so, that works really well for those folks that do the videos where they show like the hauls or they give a preview of the books that are actually coming out and stuff like that. I don't do a whole lot of that. But I think it, for those folks like Jim's Comics, who I absolutely love, I think it works really well for him. That's a great thing for him. Or for Bueller, I think it's a really good thing because they do these really great videos where they tell you about what's coming out. And I think it's fantastic. I don't necessarily get in that game, and I think these guys are basically just getting previews of what's coming out. I don't know if it's true sponsorship. You know what I'm saying? So scrolling down through some of the comments here. So here's a comment here, and then I'm going to open this box up here. So how much did you practice before you actually did a good book? I probably did maybe a good 20 books before I did a book that might have been worth like $100. And I probably did another 50 books before I did a book that was, I added a zero to that, right? Before I did a book that was like $1,000. I spent a lot of time on those first couple of like dollar books. I literally pressed those books, several ideas. And I would press them and I would take a lot of notes and document how long was it in the moisture bath, or how long was it in the press? How long was the heat on, right? So I play with all the variables that I literally documented for it was probably 5 days where I just documented the process before I was able to press a book and feel like it turned out the way that I wanted it to turn out. And then it was, okay, well, that turned out well. Let's do it again and let's see. And then let's change the book. Instead of it being a modern book, let's go with the Silver Age book. And then I would document that. And then I would say, okay, well, let's try a king size annual square bound, right? So I kept upping the ante just a little bit. And again, I probably pressed not a handful of books, many books before I actually felt comfortable doing something of value. But the way that I did it, it was small increments of change where I could say, I did this and the outcome was that. And because of that, I was able to see what worked and what did not work. And it's much like a diet. I approach this much like I would do like a diet, right? Or a workout plan. If you are doing, if you are changing this one variable in your diet, you can tie that variable change to some kind of outcome. And you don't change 10 things because you don't know which of the 10 contributed to this outcome. You change one. And then you try to see how that affected it. And then you do it again and you change another and then you see how that affected. And so that's kind of how I did it. So hopefully, Mug, that helps you. And again, if you're interested really in that pressing series, there is There are 4 pressing videos. There is a Q&A video, and then there is also a cleaning video all on the website. So I think I missed a bunch of comments. So you guys are going to have to apologize. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to apologize to you because I missed a lot of that stuff. So let me go ahead and open this up real quick, and then we're going to jump back in and hopefully I'll answer a couple of more questions for you guys. So again, if you put the questions in caps, it definitely helps me to see it. So this one has been sitting on my desk probably for a week and a half. And I'm hoping there's no damage to it because it has literally been sitting here for so long. You guys may have actually seen that, maybe not. But this is a cool book. This is the thinnest amount of bubble wrap I have ever seen anybody put on a slab. That is not a whole lot of bubble wrap. That is not the way to send a comic, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. So let me take this out of the plastic. I recently had an issue where I picked up a book to give away to you guys as part of the Go Collect giveaway. And I did not really fully look at the book and ended up having an issue with the book because the case was actually cracked. And all right, so this one looks fine. So I actually just picked this book up, like I said, recently, and it's been sitting here unopened. And it's a really cool book. And it's a book that I did not have as a slab. It is a 9.8 of CBCS. This is the first appearance of Omega Red. So definitely a cool book. I have a couple of copies of this in raw format, including one that I picked up back in the 90s off the shelf myself. But this is one that I decided to go ahead and pick up because I think that there could be some magic that is made with Omega Red at some point in the near term. So I went ahead and picked this book up. And again, someone asked me a question about spec earlier. This is how I like the spec, right? This is how I like to do it. This is a cool book. It is a key book. It's a first appearance of an important character. It is a 9.8. I got it for a reasonable price. And this is the way that I like to spec. I have 2 copies raw of this exact same book and may pick up an extra copy or 2. That is the kind of spec that I like to do. So somebody may ask, why did you get a CBCS? The reason that I got a CBCS is that the CGC version of this exact same book was $30 more, $30 more for the exact same 9.8. And so I'm like, well, I can save myself $30 by getting the CBCS version. So that is what I did. Got this version, and it is the exact same as the CGC. My OCD is flaring up, of course, because the case is different, but it is still a cool book nevertheless. And I was debating between this book and 4 raw copies of the exact same book. And I decided to go with the graded version versus the 4 copies of the raw. So all right, so let me see what you guys are talking about right now. So here's a comment. Joey Solo is talking about. I guess he's talking about the blue painter's tape. Yeah. So if you use the resealable bags, I don't think you need the blue painter's tape, right? But part of what I talk about in that video that I talked about earlier is when I go to a comic shop, a lot of times I buy my new comics on New Comic Book Day. They actually don't have resealable bags. They have regular bags. And so you need something to seal those. So I use the blue painter's tape for that. But because I also use a lot of Mylar, right? Use the 2 mil Mylar bags from BCW, those also have to be sealed. So I use blue painter's tape for those. And so it's like I have it. My preference, again, is the resealable bags, but there is a reason why I don't always use the resealable. And it's because when you buy, 10 comics or whatever on New Comic Book Day, they don't come with resealable bags. So that's part of the reason why. All right. So scrolling down through the comments here, Randy, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Matthew, it is good to see you. Scrolling down through the comments again, if you guys have questions, comments, throw them up on caps, and we will try to address them. What is this? CBCS and CGC is not the same. Their grade is based on different. Yeah, but they're still the same. They're 9.8s. So, what is this? We'll redeem the digital code. Man. So no, if memory serves with CGC, if the digital code is missing, they will make a note of it on the label, but does not affect the grade. I believe that is true, right? So if it's missing, it does not affect the grade. It can still get a 9.8, but they do make note of it on the label. I believe that is the case. You may want to send a message to CGC just to make sure, but I believe that is the answer right there. So, what is this? It says I just got a raw high grade of that and a nice 9.8 last week. That's what's up. That's what's up. It's a cool book. I actually just started reading again this X-Men series from the beginning. I've been reading a lot of like the Omega Red appearances. So like him and Sickle, the Weapon X stuff, because he had some crossover there. Of course, this X-Men book right here, number 4, I think it was maybe number 5, and then a couple of others that he appeared in before he disappeared. So I read a lot of those books, and this is kind of like dovetailing off of the Weapons Plus video that I did a couple of weeks ago, right? If you guys remember that, there was a lot of speculation as to whether Omega Red was part of the Weapons Plus program. Back in the day, he was, but in the retcon, he does not appear to be. But it was still a really cool book that I wanted to kind of pick up. So scrolling down, it's still a 9.8. It's still a 9.8, right? I mean, a 9.8 is a 9.8. Scrolling down through the comments here. Oh, someone asked me a question about Comic Tom. That's what I skipped over. What is this question? So do you prefer to send more or less off to be graded? So generally speaking, so this is the Comic Intellect. So it depends. Generally speaking, I prefer to send more than less. And part of the reason for that is it cuts down the per book cost for like shipping, right? If you send a bunch of books, the overall cost for shipping is per book is lessened because you're sending more books. And so I will hold back books in a bin that is like my 2 CGC bin until it gets to a point where I have enough books to make it worthwhile to send in, right? And so I send the books in like batches, right? So if I have a couple of modern books, I try to make sure I have a handful of books, modern books, before I send them in. Same thing for like my Silver Age, right? If I have 1 or 2, I kind of want to wait until I have like 10 or 15, and then I try to send them in. But yeah, there are some cost implications with that, but that's just kind of how I like to do it. But I think everyone's finances are a little bit different, so I think you have to do what makes a lot of sense for you. And I probably haven't sent any books into CGC probably for maybe 2 months now, maybe 2 months since I've actually sent some books in. So scrolling through, because I want to see if I can find that Comic Tom comment that someone made, and it might have been about the Comic Tom label that he just picked up. So there are a lot of people that have opinions about this right here, the CGC and CBCS. I would say if you look at the books that I tend to show, I think my preference for CGC is pretty clear. They are the industry leader, right? There's no doubt about that. Are they the best graders? I don't know, right? But are they the industry leader? Yes. Is 95% of my collection in CGC? Absolutely. And I think that there's a lot of people that like CBCS. I think there's a lot of people that like PGX. I think there's a lot of people that like EGS and Halo. And I would say there are ample people out there on the internet, on the YouTubes, that have actually done a lot of these comparison videos where they compare and contrast the various grades from the companies and how one grades versus another and that kind of stuff. And so I think there's a lot of content out there for people to evaluate. I think that each one of the companies has its pros and cons. They have their different services that they offer. They have different turnaround times and all that kind of stuff. And I think at the end of the day, each of us has to decide, what's important for us and what's important for our collection, and where do we want to place, our eggs, which basket we want to put them in. And I think you make a decision and you go with that decision, and you don't look back and you don't question it. You don't second guess it. You just keep rocking with it. And CGC has been fantastic for me in terms of grading. Have they always gotten things right? No. Have they made mistakes on my books? Absolutely. Have they corrected those mistakes each and every time? And I could probably say the same thing for CBCS if I decided to go with them. But a couple of years ago, I made the call to roll with CGC, and I have not looked back since. Have I ever tried to get your ideas on a comic like Comic Tom? No. Well, yes and no. So there is Savage Dragon #1, which contains a letter from J. Scott Campbell and a sketch from J. Scott Campbell. I actually reached out to CGC several months ago and attempted to get them to put a notation on the label of that particular comic, on the label of Savage Dragon #1, to refer to the fact that there was a J. Scott Campbell letter in there and a sketch from him. They made note of it, but did not put it on the label of the 2 Savage Dragon #1s that I sent to them. So that was my one shot on goal, and it was rejected. But outside of that, no attempts to influence a label or anything like that. I think that it was really cool that Comic Tom actually had his name and mystery box referenced on the CGC label. I think that is really cool. I think that dude is doing a lot of really cool things for the folks that he rocks with, and for himself. And I think he should definitely be proud of all of the stuff that he's doing, So scrolling through some of the comments here. Let me see what else you guys are talking about. Scrolling through, what is this? What does it say? I had to pass up an ASM 86 today because it wasn't the right deal for me. So having to live vicariously through the comic book fam this week. So bro, I'm telling you, sometimes a deal is not a deal for you at that moment. And I think you have to pass on it. Right. And I have done it many times, and sometimes I've regretted it and sometimes I haven't. But the wonderful thing, and I tell people this all the time, comics are copies, and there are lots of copies of comics out there. And so just because the comic is in front of you doesn't mean that you have to buy it. If it's not the right deal, if it's not the right time, pass on it, because there are ample books out there for you to be able to find at a later date. And, will you regret it? Maybe. But the thing is, you'll have another shot on goal. So John, shout out to you, bro, for passing up what wasn't a good deal for you. That was probably the right decision for you to make. Doesn't make it easier, right? You have a little twinge in your gut, but it was probably the exact right call for you. So shout out to you for making the right call, bro. JT, thanks for the reminder, dude. I was scrolling all the way up here. I should have just scrolled down to the bottom. So let me see what else you guys are talking about. Let me see. Scrolling through some of the comments here. So the thing is, guys, so the thing is that comics are the grading of comics is part art and part science. And so it's impossible to just look at a handful of comics and make declarative statements about one comic book grading service being better than the other. All things that involve humans are full of mistakes. Grading companies always make mistakes because they are run by humans, right? And so is it possible for a 9.8 with a spine tick to come through? Yes, it is possible for that to happen to any comic grading company, especially if they are dealing in large quantities of books. Is one better than the other because in your experience you've seen a higher standard with one? If that is your belief, then that's your belief. But until you actually have an analysis where you literally look at lots and lots of books, you cannot make definitive statements about one being better than the other. It's impossible. In your experience, you can anecdotally say that one is better than the other, but until you literally do some kind of sample size comparison, you cannot make declarative statements. It's impossible. It really is. And I know that a lot of people have made these videos where they send one comic to one place and it comes back and they send it out to another. I think that is perfectly fine. But no one should be surprised. No one should be surprised that there are differences between grading companies, because there's differences in the skill sets of the individuals that are looking at those comics. There are variances in the interpretation of the grading criteria. They don't even follow the exact same grading criteria. So we should never be surprised that there are differences between the two, right? Or the 3 or the 4 grading companies, because there are many of them out there. One is not better than the other. People have a preference for one versus the other, but no, that's like saying which pricing guy is the best. I don't know. They're all great because they all have people that believe that the prices that are reflected in those pricing guides are great prices, that they are accurate, that they're true. It's impossible to compare things without some actual true analysis. Anecdotal evidence is not true evidence. It is opinion. All right. So let me see what else you guys are talking about here. IMJ, I hear you, brother. I hear you, brother. Again, it's always nice, I think, to sometimes go back and read some of these old comics, especially that you haven't read in a really long time. Like I did that with Darkhawk, and it was not good. I remember Darkhawk being really, really good back in the day, and it was not good when I went back to read it. Unlike like Sleepwalker, I went back and read Sleepwalker, and I loved it. I went back and started reading the X-Men stuff from the beginning, and it's actually not bad. Jim Lee, fantastic artist. The writers on these, not always perfect, right? They took some shortcuts, right? It was the 90s, but at least Jim Lee's artwork was always on point. So I definitely enjoyed that. So definitely it's helpful to go back and to read a lot of those stuff, the old stuff that may have passed you by back in the day. So this guy, Comic Corpse, good decision, bro. I mean, I don't think that it was an easy decision is my guess, right? It's never easy to cut back on things that you enjoy, but sometimes it's the right decision to make for your collection. And so I applaud you, man, for making the hard call, right? If there's something you want, sacrifices have to be made, right? That is the nature of the game. And that is why I don't have Amazing Spider-Man 3 right now. Sacrifices have to be made. It's Christmas time, man. Yeah, Aaron Finkelstein, I'm about to drop some of these X-Men off the pull list. X-Men Marauders are definitely going bye-bye. Marauders, are you serious? Aaron, I'm going to send you a message after this. Marauders? That's a good book. No, again, all personal preference, man. I think you always have to do what's in your best interest for your collection. So I think you gotta pull the trigger. So Sully 2 King, Sleepwalker, man, I enjoy Sleepwalker. I enjoy the original Pit series back in the day. I reread that. I enjoy Wildcats. I went back and got on his whole Jim Lee kick a while ago, and I started reading all of his early stuff over at Image. So Wildcats and what was it, Wild Star, the black and white thing with the star on his chest that was like the alien Symbiont. Went back and reread a lot of that stuff. So definitely, it's always cool to go back and read that old stuff and have it actually be really good, as good as you remember, if not better. That was the case with Pitt. I thought Pitt was good back in the day. Went back and read it. It was even better. It was even better this last time around. So scrolling through some of the comments here. Ooh, really? Because Excalibur #1 was, that was a tough that was a tough read for me, my friend. Excalibur 2 was a little bit better. Excalibur 3 a little bit better, Excalibur 1 was rough, man. It was rough. Oh man, you guys have completely different taste than me, but that's what makes all of this fantastic. That's what makes it fantastic, is everybody has different interests, and that's why it all works. I've never been a big Excalibur fan, but I'm reading the last couple of issues and I'm actually enjoying it. Issue #1, I did not enjoy as much. Issue #1 of X-Men, I did not enjoy, to be honest with you. The Fallen Angels, issue #1, loved it. Issue #2, did not enjoy it. Right. And so it's just these ups and downs. And so I think that's what the responsible thing to do is to buy these comics, to read these comics, to figure out what you like, and the things that you can't really get on board with, discontinue them, reallocate those resources to something else that actually makes you happy, So, all right. I'm actually going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Pit issues after 3 can be tough. Really? I think I had 5 issues in #1. No, maybe like 6. I was on a stretch where I was just, every time I saw it, I never remembered that I had it. So I kept buying it and buying it and buying it and buying it. I think I have like 5 or 6 copies, but I have a healthy number of that Pit run in a box down here on the very bottom. So I'm gonna have to take your word for that one, that they're hard to find after issue #3. If you were looking for them, good luck. I just assumed that they were plentiful out there. Comic Mag Musings. It is good to see you. Welcome to the live stream, my friend. Just as we are wrapping up, you have my apologies. I want to thank you guys for hanging out just a little bit. Just as a quick reminder, this is the book that we are giving away this week. It is Saga of the Swamp Thing, number 37, the first appearance of John Constantine. This book could be yours if you tune in to the various videos that are dropping from the channel over the course of this week, Monday through Friday. And one of those videos, there is a phrase. You watch that video, you get the phrase, you head over to the community tab, you click on the post where I'm talking about that particular book, you go to MailChimp, you plug in 3 pieces of information, 2 of them are relevant to you, and one of them is the phrase that I would have given you in the video that is coming out this week. You plug it in, then you tune into the Ready, Set, Go preview show to find out if you are the winner. Basically ask that you be a subscriber of the channel, resident of the United States, a resident of Canada, or have a mailing address in the US. It is also 1 entry per person, 1 entry per household. So just as a reminder of that. But like I said, I want to thank you for hanging out just a little bit. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so at RegieCollects on Instagram, which is my preferred, or RegieCollects at gmail.com. Take care.